janitor kind
So the main gist of our game, it is a puzzle game with a top-down perspective, similar to, old Zelda games, things like that, where you play as a janitor going into abandoned buildings with the goal of cleaning them up, getting all the trash out of them, putting them into a garbage disposal. The whole point is you're supposed to plan the path of the ball you take, but you don't have that much time to plan it. There is a trash monster that has also come out from this filth that wants to defend its trash and keep its home that will try to stop you along the way. We took a lot of influence, obviously, from puzzle games, being a puzzle game itself. One in particular being an old Flash game called Bloxorus, which in terms of perspective and just general look doesn't match that much, but the mechanics and sort of like driving gameplay behind it are extremely similar. It's just extremely simple, up, down, left, right gameplay, and it's all about planning your path that you take, which is exactly what we wanted to go for too. We made our character a janitor with the goal of cleaning up like abandoned buildings, mainly because it just seems like something that hasn't been done. Not many janitor games out there that I can think of, except maybe a couple. But yeah, we just figured it'd be unique, so went for it. Some of the technical challenges we face is, I think, like everyone else in the class, learning the limitations of Phaser, and a lot of time, going into documentation, figuring out like how does a sprite object work, how does arcade physics work, that sort of thing. In addition, more specifically, we have a pull functionality that we tried to implement later on in it to keep you from getting soft locked into a corner, which turns out really messes with the player just based on how we did collision. It sort of like forces you in the walls and overwrites a lot of like position data and things like that. We've also had some minor issues with merging code in GitHub. Every now and then we'll just do a pull or a push and half the code that we just made is just gone. So we have to spend some time putting that back. And also minor issues getting our sprite sheets to work how we want to. Every now and then we'll try to have an animation, like the janitor's supposed to have a pushing animation when he gets close to his ball of trash, and it just gets overwritten by stopping the running animations and things like that.
So some non-technical challenges that we've had, we're all students, we've had scheduling problems. Some of us have work, some of us have more classes than each other. So just getting the right time to communicate and talk to each other, especially in the beginning, was quite a challenge. Assigning individual tasks. We had this big picture idea that we all really liked, this janitor pushing trash as a puzzle game. We really liked it, but handing out individual assignments per person, we weren't as clear, and that kind of limited our efficiency, especially at the beginning. We're a little bit better at it now, but we can always do better. And expanding the game to make it more interesting. Once we actually had the first level down, the mechanics were fine, the look was fine, but there were missing layers, and what we ended up doing is we added some creepy background music, we added some movements, new animations, and we added these transition slides that I thought were really neat. The first one is whenever you complete the level, you get this slide, you press N to go to the next level, and you get this nice ding that feels really rewarding. The other one is when you get got by the trash monster, and it's obviously a little bit darker. The core mechanics, they're pretty straightforward. The arrow keys are to move the janitor around. This is how you traverse the map. The E key is to push the trash. You just get next to the trash, and the collision will be, you'll activate a variable, and you'll be able to push the trash. The F key was to pull the trash. Like we said, this wasn't implemented until about halfway through the game so far. This also was a really weird function because you'd be able to pull the trash straight into the goal, and it kind of break our game and make our whole puzzle obsolete. So we ended up limiting the pull function, so you can only pull a certain amount of distance. The core dynamics, very straightforward. There's collisions with the environment. That includes the trash, the janitor, and the monster. The monster can't just go straight through our blocks. Navigating the trash around the level. Again, you just pull and push the trash how you see fit. There's a fairly limited scope of where you can pull and push the trash to make sure that you actually complete the level. And evading the trash monster. Right now, we only have one monster per level. We might increase the difficulty and add more monsters. And the aesthetic. We obviously have a janitor cleaning up abandoned warehouses or abandoned buildings. So the aesthetic is going to look a little bit grimy, dusty, spooky, and unsettling. This is the inspiration that we had for our trash monster. It's kind of lovable and a little bit colorful. You are supposed to feel a little bit frustrated whenever you don't know how to complete the level. It goes with the difficulty of each level. You're going to get more frustrated throughout with the increasing difficulty. And you're supposed to feel rewarded whenever you actually finish the puzzle. They're not supposed to be super easy, so it does take a little bit of a few attempts to finish each level.
So it's going well for us. We have 2 almost completely functioning levels of our game that start off with a lot of bugs, but we've managed to squash most of them. And we're also really proud of our audio. We have really nice background music. We have some sound effects for a ghost, really creepy. We have some sound effects when you finish the level. It makes you feel really good about yourself. And our programming skills have also gotten a lot better just from the sheer amount that we've had to program for this game. And our team dynamics and our communication. We used to primarily communicate through GroupMe, which is great, but it's not super organized. So moving more towards Trello keeps us on task with each other, so we're not tripping over each other's code whenever we contribute. What could have gone better? As you said earlier, our scheduling is pretty hard. We are full-time students, we work. It's hard to get everybody synced up to the same time. And it's really hard because we're really productive when we're all together as a team, so not being able to do that as much has been a struggle. And our time management, we're one of those teams that waits until Sunday night or sometimes Monday morning to do our sprints, and it's really difficult, and it's not a great feeling to get all that done at the last minute, and it doesn't always produce the best products. So we're working towards trying to start a little bit earlier in the week, not wait until last minute. And our level design, being a puzzle-based game, it's really dependent on the puzzle itself, on the tile map we create. So we're trying to make it more interesting and engaging and harder as we progress through the game. And for lessons learned, we've really learned how to work well as a team. We initially got along really well, but we kind of trusted each other to work separately, which works in some cases, but for us, we get a lot more done when we do it all together because we can help each other out and we produce a lot more that way. And we've also gotten a lot better using the agile method of developing. Having these sprints has been frustrating, but it's kept us on task. We're not falling behind and just getting lost in our game and stressed out. And lastly, we've all talked about it, the scope of this class is not very big. So we all want to get so much done, but we can't always do that. So really like trimming the fat off of our game and just keeping the meat about what we really like and we're really proud of and we hope is really fun to play.
Yeah.
Is there a way to restart the level before you lose it?
So no, and that is probably what we're gonna move toward after fiddling with this pull function for like the past 2 weeks. It just either doesn't work well, or if we get it working like in a way that actually doesn't break the game, it just kind of makes it really easy. So we're probably just gonna move to hitting like the R key or something like that, and just resets the level from the beginning if you get stuck in a corner.
Yeah, usually the gameplay would be if you ever got stuck before the pull function, you could just suicide into the trash monster and that would restart the level, but that just doesn't seem like the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
Do you guys have plans to add other mechanics besides the trash monster that are obstacles for you trying to clean up?
So not necessarily that, but way in the future, sort of is like an added bonus once we get like everything else cleaned up. It'd be cool to add like power-ups, give your janitor like a different broom that either, you know, pushes the ball faster or makes you immune to the monster or something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.